Hello, good evening and welcome to the RTD's English News. Here are the top stories for tonight. A loan agreement signed between the Egyptian government and the French Development Agency. And on the continental news, the United Nations released a $58 million to assist internally displaced persons.
Those were the top stories. Thank you for joining us. The head of state, His Excellency Ismail Margele, has addressed today a message of condolence to his counterparts of Egyptian, Mr. Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, following the announcement yesterday of the death of most famous and best known of this great nation, the former United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Boutros Ghali. It is unconcerning that I have learned that a sad news, wrote the President Ghali, expressing his deep and sincere condolence and express of his compassion and solidarity to all Egyptian people following the sudden death of the late Mr. Boutros Ghali. The entire Djiboutian nation also joined him in the expressing sympathy to the brotherly people of Egypt. Continued the President of the Republic, distributing the late Boutros Ghali as an enfeebled man, just and good, that has long worked for a peace and reconciliation of a different civilization and culture of the world. Experiences and diplomat, he embodied by the pride of our continent by becoming the first Secretary General of the United Nations from Africa and the Arab world, added the head of state of Djibouti, praising the high sense of sinking comprised of the UN senior and age of 93 years. His death has been announced yesterday. A model of social success, the deceased man had a long and distinguished career. Beside and being at the head of the UN, he was also the Minister of Foreign Affairs of his country, Egypt. He also served as Secretary General of the International Francophone Organizations.
The second African Parliamentary Union on Migration Conference has come to an end today under the patronage of the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohamed Ali Hamad, with a discussion session between parliamentarians within the precinct of the National Assembly. The theme was the contribution of African migrants to the development of countries of origin and destination. During the conference, experts and technicians of international organizations have also offered interactive discussion and on the cause and effect of migration with development. The discussion focused on the indirect link between migration and development, factor of migration and contribution, often misunderstood and sometimes undervalued migrants in their countries of origin and destination. The ultimate goal is to expand the ideal of freedom, equality, peace and justice for the people of Africa. The promotion of human rights, deepening the concept of democracy for the establishment of sustainable peace through a dialogue in the framework of an inter-African cooperation and a policy of good neighborhood, peacefully a coexistence in African grouping. Following this session, a final release was proceeded for adoption by the General Secretary of the UPA, Kofi, where he answered several questions related to this phenomenon of migration that refers, among other things, the question related to paid youth and poverty.
A loan agreement was initiated this morning between the Republic of Djibouti and the French Development Agency. The Djiboutian government, represented by the Minister of Finance in charge of French industry, Mr. Christophe Guillouet, Ambassador of France, and Mr. Mamadou, and Director of the French Development Agency, of 7 million euros of funding in 1,400,000 has been paid to the Ministry of Health to improve the condition of the maternal care and child. This new funding from FDA aims to provide the Djiboutian population in a place of birth near the sector of a quick reference for obstetric and national emergency. This fund will raise the top maternity pediatric equipment and hospital facilities including Peltier, Balbala, Arhiba and Farahad. Were present at this meeting the Secretary General of Menfi, Nuh Umar Migila, and external founding manager Muhammad Ali Galile, and the technical advisor of Menfi in charge of communication Muhammad Gaasa, finance minister in charge of industry thanked the French agency Sporting Development in order to improve of the care provided for the particularly Djiboutian population. On the most remote villages of those precarious situations to their offering the access to care.
A Turkish delegation led by the recorder of Istanbul University Prof. Technical Dr. Mehmet Akaraka and his close associate is for a working mission in the country from the 17th to 19th February. His Excellency the Ambassador of Turkey to Djibouti was also present at the meeting. The Turkish delegation visited the Ministry of Higher Education and Research hosted by the Ministry of Higher Education and Research Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, the President of the University of Djibouti, Dr. Mohammed Jama Hassan and close associate. The purpose of this mission is to sustain cooperation between the two countries. The priority area of cooperation identified by the Minister are support for the Faculty of Engineering of Djibouti, developing training in engineering of new telecommunication technologies, railway, civil engineering and transport logistics were on the agenda. The chair experience in the exchange of professional, student and scientific research between research laboratories of both countries has been discussed. The two sides agreed to establish a work program with a crafted agenda on all action to be undertaken in the short term for a quick and effective sustaining of this cooperation. This working meeting of the Turkish delegation will conclude tomorrow with the signing of the framework agreement between the University of Djibouti and Istanbul Technical University.
The Secretary General of MENFOB, Mr. Harun Umar Aden, has held today the work of a meeting with academic advisor of basic education in the presence of a senior executive and official of the ministry and all educational advisor of a basic education in the capital and regions of MENFOB's conference room. During the meeting, which was part of the evaluation of a midterm of the school's year, it was a question of assessing the performance and the strength of weaknesses on the work done by the Secretary General at length puts into perspective the role, representative and responsibilities of essential work in the harmony between educational counselors, principal and teacher to carry out teaching and administrative work in school's year. The academic advisor is the friend of the principals. It should support the mentor and assign in its tasks and especially in the school project implemented during the school year, he said. The senior MENFOB took the opportunity to raise the founding and observation made recently at a vast campaign of inspection and monitoring carried out in the schools in the capital and the region. The evaluation of the teaching and administrative work, the implementation of a school project, and more generally in school's life were the subject of a trade between pedagogical counselors and official MENFOB. The Secretary General and advisor official around him gave all the guidelines and structure necessary to improve the performance of the teachers in their classroom. Finally, let's recall that the several topics relate to the classroom lives, including, among others, the maintenance logs and workshop houses were awarded during the review and discussed during these sessions.
As a part of the social solidarity, Mr. Abdelkader, who is the unemployed father of the family, is confronted with a disease that affect his child since 3 years. Abdelkader lives in the Hayabli neighborhood, and he is also an handicapped man who have a child that now suffering 3 years of a disease requiring medical evacuation abroad. Without this, his child will be handicapped forever. Mr. Abdelkader requested the support of the Djiboutian population to help him in these circumstances. Mr. Abdelkader to tell us that he is a child born in 2010, healthy, and now he cannot walk or talk like other children. You can contact him in this following number: 777-545-848.
The Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Ali Abdallah Silla, assured this morning a feedback meeting on the elaboration of the national list of essential medicine by international consultant came up with the World Health Organization support. Was present at this meeting the World Health Organization representative, the UNDP representative, Inspector General of the Health Service, the Director of Pharmacies, Director of Reference Hospitals, and all health ministry officials. The objective of this meeting was a final validation of the national essential drugs list that was developed on the broad consultation process with all service doctors, pharmacists, and the health facilities. This list of medicine is a framework document that will serve to all the pharmacies of public squares and health facilities, as well as for all drugs purchase. This work stems from a strong political will that express the need to update for the year of 2016 the all list of essential medicine that exists. The direction of the drug and pharmacies inform that the next step will be the establishment of a national commission on the drugs.
A news release now from the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health informed that the public of the Organization for Medical Caravan of Ophthalmic Surgery by a medical team from the international NGO Al-Basar will organize Djibouti from February 20, 2016 to March 2, 2016 for this proposal. We ask to the population who is suffering from disease of the eyes to establish their medical record from the health center Red Crescent to spend a screening consultation. We call on all people to please take advantage of this massive consultation.
The French Federation of Sport Submarine will help young Djiboutians to have an interest in maritime profession and serve instructors of underwater sport. A partnership agreement was signed to this effect between the two sport federation, Underwater Djiboutian Federation and the French Federation. Agreement was facilitated by the National Tourist Board. Under a blazing sun, we approach slowly abroad of a zodiac. Off the bottom is Lucy, a cruise ship where we expected this morning. It is a milestone and a step in the Djiboutian-French relationship. This signature of an agreement between the CMS and the NTD in the partnership with the Djiboutian Underwater Federation and Sport Submarines was in order to the day on a spaceful Lucy. Were present at the event the president of the French Federation of the Studies in Underwater Sport, Mr. Jean-Louis Blanchard, and the director of the National Tourist Office, Mr. Mohamed Abdillahi Wais. President of the Federation of Underwater Sport Djibouti, Mr. Ibrahim Abdou Mohamed, and members of the National Tourist, Mr. Tourism in the board. The primary objective of this agreement is to develop the sector, to train young Djiboutians in the trade of the sea, give them a better future and a fight against unemployment. The President Jean-Louis Blanchard is very optimistic and already showing a color. Recall that the domestic tourism is booming, and the marine is one of the strengths in the presence of the president of the Technical Commission of the French Federation of Studies and Underwater Sport. Jean-Louis Blanchard monitors a first promotion in early May received the hands of the Minister of Trade and Industry diplomats recognized by the state of Djibouti. The director of the National Tourist Office was delighted with this partnership, which he said will create jobs for young people and will boost the country's economic through the most development tourism. Is already existed in Djibouti training tradition of giving the instructors according to the Mr. Jean-Louis Blanchard, but it was held in military clubs. The president of the Djiboutian Federation is very pleased with the signing of this agreement. Will be for him and his federation, that is the fruit of partnership on the NTD and the CMS are set on worldwide recognition. The French Federation of Studies and the Underwater Sport, nature's ambition to democratize the practice of giving technical and pedagogical assist to Djiboutian who will become driver monitors.
The CEO of the company Djibouti Telecom, Mr. Mohamed Assowe Bou, closing today one of the day important meeting devoted to the Lighthouse project in ambition Dar cable system, abbreviation of Djibouti Africa, who Regional Express, was held at the Palace Kempeski. This innovative and revolutionary project is an initiative of the national telecommunication operator, which intends to mobilize its power in the region for the establishment of a fiber optic system linking Djibouti to the major capital of the region. A beautiful range of telecom operator and internet service provide met yesterday under the calendar of Kempeski. There are no less many telecom operators from countries such as Somalia, Kenya, Ethiopia, Somaliland, and among others that exchange with expert and leader of Djibouti Telecom and the project supplier Dar cable system configuration, a final and a budget of construction of this cable. More generally, the DARE project is dedicated to increasing the level of connectivity of the region optical fiber. It's also a fabulous way to ensure multiple and secure access and increase traffic between the various strongholds on the region in the interconnected network. Ownership of the network where the regional optical fiber there will return fully to the major actor in the region, who will ensure the implementation and maintenance. The telecommunication company and space provider internet access does bring together in a short consumption that will enable them to pool their financial capacity and share the fruit and the dividend. It will also allow that to increase their technical and financial capacity and bandwidth affordable cost and feasible. The aforementioned project, fully designed and proposed by the company Djibouti Telecom, aim to capitalize on tremendous growth of the rapid expansion of access to the global network capability. The final version of the document of contract maintenance project since the signing of the project DAR in March 2016.
In the framework of the choosing and supporting the UMP candidate, His Excellency Ismail Margele, for the new presidential election next April, the Kartile Neighborhood Association has decided to show their full support for the President of the Republic and ask the great Djiboutian artist Mr. Khalil Abdullahi Ali to represent it through a drawing on a wall, with the sponsorship provided by a private enterprise. Mr. Khalil Abdullahi Ali explained in an interview granted yesterday that it took him to the days of work, and it is an hearted request of the president of the association, Mr. Usman Yasin Umar. Mr. Khalil Abdullahi explained that these drawings testify to the support of the repopulation of this district to Ismail Omar Guelleh, His Excellency the President, project for the country.
A youth called Le Mouvement du 1er Novembre has organized today in the complex of Al-Rahma Balbala a day of reflection on the theme brotherhood and peace. Many teachers and staff attend this meeting along with the representative of civil society, including the leader of neighborhood association. The president of the municipality of Balbala, Mr. Nuh Yusuf, also attended this meeting. The ceremony was opened by the reading of verses from the Holy Quran. Then several groups present a show of song and dances. His welcome address, the president said that the movement 1er Novembre Abdullahi, who is a professor of life science and heard, welcomed the strong mobilization of young people of their association. They all come to discuss the future of the country and the need to safeguard civil harmony, peace and social cohesion. He said he was proud to see so many young people gathering in this day and who came to express their commitment to the enlightened policy of the President Guelleh. The Mouvement 1er Novembre went to demonstrate the determination of young people to put in priority the interest of the country and its stability. The acceptance speech of the president of the movement was followed by a series of interventions, including those of Yusuf Nuh and Mr. Yunis, Ms. Nim'a Mohammed Sultan, urged Djibouti to go massively vote on April 8 for the presidential election and to a good choice. A president of the commune Balbala called on young people to preserve peace.
Still on the national news, as part of the support for the candidate of UMP, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, for his candidacy for the presidential election next April, the Section 7 neighborhood of Guelleh Battle Association has decided to show its support for the presidential and ask the Djiboutian grid designer Khalil to represent a throw drawing on the wall all movies party with the support of materials provide a private secretary company. Instead, Khalil Abdullahi Ali explained in an interview that he granted yesterday after the afternoon. Khalil Abdullahi Ali said it took us the second days to work, and it is the request on the president of the neighborhood association of Guelleh Battle, Usman Yasin Umar, listened to the interview in Somali and has explained that this drawing testified to the support of the population for this area of His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh project for the countries.
Let's move on to the interior region now. In Dikhil, the vote card distribution operation began in Dikhil region. The prefect of Dikhil, Mohammed Hassan Sheikho, visited the various counters of distribution this Tuesday to inspect and observe the progress of the card distribution operation voter. This distribution operation also takes place in the three sub-prefectures of the region, namely As'ela, Yoboki and Mouloud. Dikhil prefecture has also established a mobile team for the distribution of electoral cards in remote area of the region. The prefect of Dikhil region, Sheikh Mohammed Hassan, seized this opportunity for the public to get their voting card and fully their duty of citizenship.
Sports now. The national youth game continue as we already went to the fifth days of the competition. Indeed, sport from table tennis, which has already given its verdict in the team final male and female which was played there 2 days. The real fun began today with the semi-final in all disciplines. In the program of the day of 2016 taking place at the King Fahad complex in Balbala, the first result that came to us are the follows. In men's football, the game between the team and the Bul'aus and Arta conducted with the scores of 2 goals to 1 in favor of Arta. The discipline of men's basketball, Balbala team is required against the Arta by the scores of 38 points to 14.
The semi-final table tennis individual held today at the Goli Stadium. In the female category, the first semi-final pitted the Balbala town represented by Nasima Mohamoud and the coming of Blaus represented by Dayibo with a score of 3-0 in the favor of the coming of Balbala. Second semi-final pitted the Tajora region represented by Jum'a in the municipality of Blaus represented by Salma with a score of 3-1 in favor of Tajora. In the men's category, the first semi-final pitted the Bul'aus town represented by Wabali and Dakhil region represented by Abdul Qadir with a score of 3-1 in favor of Bul'aus. The second semi-final pitted by the comune of Bul'aus represented by Ramadan and the region of Dakhil represented by Habib with a score of 3-0 in favor of the comune of Bul'aus.
With the regional news now, a delegation from the African Union Commission has carried out an assignment on the state of the Somalia-based peacekeeping mission to identify areas that need urgent support from the African Union headquarters in Ethiopia. Let's see with more details.
The delegation from the African Union Commission Peace Support Operation Division also wanted to find out how AMISOM planned to implement the revised concept of operation that was endorsed by the African Union Peace and Security Council at its 544 meeting in September last year. The revised concept and operations for AMISOM aim to create and preserve an enabling environment for the unfolding political peace and reconciliation process in Somalia. The delegation also looked at ways of assisting Somali security institutions alongside AMISOM troops execute their mandates of keeping the country safe and warding off threats posed by the Al-Shabaab and other armed militant group. The visit further evaluated the mission's readiness for the upcoming presidential and parliamentarian elections scheduled later this year. Major General Francis Okello, who led the delegation from the Peace Support Operation Division, said, "Our visit here is to find out the preparedness of troops to support this political process. The second key aspect of this visit is, as you are aware, last year in August, AMISOM and the African Union headquarters produced a new concept of operation, and this visit is to find out how that concept of operation in support with the political process of Somalia is unfolding." The delegation also visited AMISOM troops stationed in the port city of Marka and held meetings with elders, local residents and commander to clearly understand the security and administrative issue in the region. This was in view of recent allegation in the media that AMISOM had withdrawn from Marka. However, the allegations were denied by the top AMISOM leadership, led by the Special Representative of the African Union Commission Chairperson for Somalia, Ambassador Francisco Maidera.
It was on the top stories. The United Nations said 58 million was released to assist 2.4 million internally displaced people in the Boko Haram insurgency. Said Mohammed for more information.
The nation said $58 million was released to assist 2.4 million internally displaced persons in the Boko Haram insurgency. And officials in the United Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, Abuja, Mrs. Kate Pond, in a statement said the UN Central Emergency Response Fund allocated the amount from March 2015 to February 4, 2016. Since 2015, the Emergency Relief Coordinator has released more than $58 million from the Central Emergency Response Fund for life-saving assistance in response to Boko Haram-related violences. According to the UN, the sum of $27.2 million was also allocated in March 2015 to assist more than 1.6 million internally displaced persons, refugees and host communities from Cameroon, Chad, Niger and Nigeria. An additional $31 million was provided in late 2015 and 2016 for life-saving humanitarian response for more than 700,000 affected people in Lake Chad Basin region. The United Nations said $20 million was also to assist over 1.6 million victim and vulnerable people in host communities in Nigeria. The statement also explained that the Central Emergency Response Fund was one of the fastest and most effective way to support rapid humanitarian response for people affected by natural disasters and armed conflicts.
This is it for this edition. Thank you for your attention and have a great evening.